there was this principle in my family when I was growing up regarding bullies. Okay, we were not allowed to complain about a bully, especially like a bully at school. Now, within reason, if you were dealing with a bully at school, you would tell a teacher, okay, to document the incident. That's something that, the adults in my family supported. But if none of those things worked, the only thing that was left for you to do was to face the bully, okay? And so one of the principles in my family was, and some people might think that this is kind of harsh, like, what kind of family did you grow up in? But looking back at it, I kind of appreciate it now. I was scared at the time. Like when I would hear this, I'm going to tell you the principle in a second. But at the time, I was scared. Like, oh my God. So if I don't win against the bully when I get home, my mom or my dad or my uncle, somebody is going to spank me. Like I am going to get a whipping because I did not succeed against the bully. And that was one of the principles that, I kind of grew up on. Like, you have to succeed no matter what against the bully. And now that I'm an adult, I kind of understand. I don't think the adults meant their intent was ill intended. You know what I mean? Ill intended is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. I don't believe their intent, they had bad intentions. I believe that they totally understood the world at that point. And what happens is if you have a bully now as a kid, these bullies really don't change as you get older. You know what I mean? And so now, if you're dealing with a bully as a child, here's where you're going to get your practice at how to defeat a bully. Okay? And if you have done everything that you can, you've, told a teacher, maybe told an adult, but the bully persists, you have no choice. That's it. The difference between those times when I was a child and now is that the bully is still a bully, but it's a psychological bully. Okay, it's a bully using paper. This is not a bully that I can point at and I can fight. Okay, like I can fight you and we both fight and whoever wins walks away. Okay, this bully is psychological. This bully uses paper. Okay, to terrorize you. So I learned how to defeat a bully as a child physically, but not intellectually. Okay. So growing up in my household, like my grandmother, she was real old school. We had a library within the home, but those books were more like Aesop's fables, moral guides, entertainment. Okay. Not necessarily books that talked about, wars between monarchs and different tactics that each side employed in order to gain a victory over the other. Okay, so I did not grow up thinking about these types of things or even playing something like chess. um I played checkers, but chess is really different from checkers. I didn't learn chess until I became an adult, but you guys get the gist of what I'm saying. um this video I found, okay, in front of you. I was scrolling through TikTok and I came across this video. And I thought that this video would explain to you what I'm going to talk to you about today. It would give you an introduction into what I'm trying to say to you. Okay. In this video, this young guy, he gets this traffic violation, it sounds like, and I want you to listen to the dialogue between him and the judge regarding this traffic violation. Now, this guy, if you can read the header, I think they refer to him as a sovereign citizen. Very plainly put, excuse me, guys, very simply put, a sovereign citizen is someone who the state has labeled as incompetent. Okay, so a sovereign citizen is someone who really doesn't have a lot of understanding about The court proceedings they are in, they don't have a lot of understanding about, their financial affairs or how to handle themselves, okay? And so this sovereign citizen label, if you guys have heard it before, it is another way to call you ignorant. It is a way to call you incapacitated. It is a way to call you incompetent, okay? So that is what a sovereign citizen is. And so this guy tries to defend his rights. I have a right to privacy, I have a right to travel. Okay, but there are some very key pieces that he is missing. Um, from his defense. And I want to go over it with you guys because I think that this video can give you a really good example of what's happening to you if you're in court over your mortgage, if you're in child support court, family court is the name of it. If you are even in some instances criminal court. I really don't like to go into criminal cases simply because of the morality of it. I don't want to, advocate for or against, okay? But if you can listen to the information and you would begin to sort of understand exactly what I'm trying to convey to you about what is taking place, especially inside of courtrooms. You think that one a particular process is happening, one type of proceeding. So when you go to traffic court, you think you are there for traffic, but traffic is like it's a domain. It's just a smoke screen. Okay, it is a smoke screen, and then when you actually get into court, the court begins to use a different set of rules. Okay, and so, as I stated before, this video is to kind of help you guys. You guys know that settlement and closure is coming. This is a book with a lot of information. It has so much. It can be overwhelming, okay? And it is a self-help mortgage, um, specifically for mortgages to settle and close a mortgage, okay? Either you can do it on your own or, you can do it using the court. But it is a lot of information. And so I want to create as many resources to kind of get your mind prepared, okay, to be able to absorb all of this information if you're in a non judicial state like me, or if you're in a judicial state. Uh, I think Florida is a judicial state, okay? So I'm going to play the video. I'm going to let you hear. This video is about 43 minutes. I'm absolutely not going to go through the entire video, but I think it is worth listening to. Okay. It is worth listening to. If this is my YouTube, it doesn't matter which social media platform you're watching this from. I am going to link this video in the description box so that you can watch the video um, on your own. Okay, so I'm about to play the video for you. I'll pause at different points if there is something I need to bring to your attention about the dialogue exchanged between the judge and, the young guy that is in court for a traffic violation.
Do you have a lawyer today?
No, representing myself.
You are charged with unlawful kind of weapon. It looks like you also, out of the same charge, picked up a fraud as well. I mean, okay, you can represent yourself. It's your absolute right. I don't know how smart it is. Have you ever represented yourself before?
Yeah, many times.
How did that?
Okay, so in the very beginning, okay, listen to the judge's demeanor. The judge is attempting to suggest to the young guy that, hey, I don't think it's a good idea for you to represent yourself. How many times have you represented yourself before in the past? What he's doing is he is trying to gauge the defendant's competency, okay? How many times have you defended yourself before? How many dismissals have you gotten in the past, okay? Because he is the judge, he is weighing whether or not he is going to override this defendant and become the representative for the defendant without the defendant's knowledge or consent. Also pay attention to uh, how he talks about, oh, you caught a fraud charge, and you got a weapons charge. And he talks about these other things surrounding, like the traffic stop led to other charges. Okay. And so he's just reiterating to the defendant, okay, all of these bad things happen to you in this traffic stop, and I don't think it's a good idea for you to represent yourself. But who better to represent me than me? I was the person present. I have firsthand knowledge of what happened. Okay, so that is an example of competency. When you are able to kind of rebut in a manner, I'm not being unprofessional here, okay, but with all due respect, no one is better to represent me than myself, because I have firsthand knowledge of what took place on that date. Okay, rather than just to allow this judge, simply because, people have been taught to fear judges and to fear the courtrooms. Okay.
Go.
I have many dismissals.
For what kind of cases?
I had a dismissal on unlawful care before.
And you represented yourself?
Yes.
In
Yes.
this court? Oh, well, I found no probable cause. That's why I got dismissed. You didn't represent yourself.
I was representing myself, but the judge did find no probable cause.
I found, was it me?
No, it wasn't you. Well, I don't know. I think it was you.
I found no probable
I
cause.
think that was you.
You didn't represent yourself for nothing, man. I did it.
Did you hear it? You didn't represent yourself for nothing, man. I did it. Okay. He is now telling this defendant that you were too incompetent to not be able to articulate. There was no probable cause in your previous cases. So, since you were unable to articulate this yourself, since you were not competent, okay, I became your representative. Another example of a representative is a fiduciary, an executor, a trustee. Okay. I kind of respect this guy a little bit, even though I don't like the courts. I disagree. But listen, he's being honest. He's being upfront about, I represented you. Okay. So anytime that the judge is saying that I represented you, okay, in you believe that, like for this gentleman's example, you're in court for traffic, okay? And if the court is saying, the judge is saying that I represented you, this is no longer traffic court. This is an estate probate trust type of law that the judge is now acting under, because you are incompetent. So when you go into traffic court or you go into family court, okay, family court is another big one. When you enter family court, okay, the purpose of family court is because mom and dad are in disagreement with each other, okay, they are here for our arbitration. Once the judge has witnessed, okay, both sides, he makes an assessment regarding competency, okay, and the competency is really focused on the father, okay. The competency is really focused on the father. So if the father appears incompetent, for example, he is like very irresponsible. He's making multiple children across with multiple women across multiple households. Okay, this is an example of incompetency. Okay, the women don't seem to respect him. Okay, he is not providing for his children or has to be forced. I'm not saying that this applies to every father. I do understand that the system is abused against some men who are great fathers. I'm not speaking about you. This is a hypothetical. Okay, the judge is looking at a criminal history. Okay, is this man in and out of jail? Okay, he's an incompetent father. He has multiple children with multiple women across multiple households. Okay, this is incompetency. He is unable to manage his estate, and your DNA is a part of your estate. Okay, your children are in a part of your estate. So since this man is incompetent, okay, since he is incapable, and women get put on child support too. I'm not trying to be biased here, so you guys don't get angry, don't focus too much on the hypothetical situation, but just listen to what I'm saying to you. But fathers bear the brunt of the responsibility. That's how it is in biblical law. It's been like that since the beginning of time. Okay, men bear the ultimate responsibility for the women and the children. That's what it is. And so the judge is listening to this, and he's looking at the father's history, work history. He's listening to the testimony of the mother, and he's deciding that this is incompetency. This man is incompetent to maintain his estate. He is incompetent to maintain control over his family. The mother and this man is incompetent, and the father, the mother and the father, the mother and the father are incompetent. They are incapable of handling their affairs or settling their differences amicably. Okay, so what they have decided to do was to come into the court, and they need a third party. They need someone else, okay, to manage their estate for them. Okay, they need someone else to make the decision for them. So when you are in family court and that happens, for example, the judge awards child support to mom, and you feel like this child support award is kind of unfair to me. Okay, it's very, it does not justify my child's needs, like it's excessive. You know what I mean? What had just happened to you was an estate administration. Okay, the judge has decided to represent you in estate administration. So it was at family court. It was family court from the beginning, but family court is just a smokescreen. The moment the judge starts to move assets, okay, or force one party to pay another, okay, the moment that the judge does this, the family court is just a smokescreen, but the law being applied within the court is a state probate trust law, okay? And your assets as a father are being administered under the court's directive because you have been deemed incompetent. Okay, do you understand? So when the judge takes over like this and states that I have to represent you, this is why. So this judge is saying to this young defendant, I hope that example was plain enough for you to understand. The judge, they do the same thing in traffic court, okay? If you come into traffic court and you're saying that, hey, I am, imagine, okay, we're playing Monopoly. Everybody has played Monopoly, okay? Let me give you a plain example that you can get, that you can understand. And we know that Monopoly is a game, but it is a game that we play for entertainment, for learning, okay? We're acquiring property, okay? And we're bankrupting our other family members. That is really how America is it runs, it functions like Monopoly. If you want a real life example, go get a Monopoly game. My family and I, we have family night. And we pick a game that everyone chooses. Monopoly is one of those games. And so within Monopoly, okay, if you guys cannot understand statutory law governs the game pieces within Monopoly. Does that make sense? So in Monopoly, the statutes would be a car. You guys remember the battleship or the boot or the hat, okay? Those are examples of statutes, okay? We call those statutes because, I mean, it can't move, it can't do anything on its own, okay? And so you have a person that moves that statute around the board and acquires assets, okay, and acquires money and property, okay, the same. That is what statutory law is. So, statutory law is simply the law that governs those game pieces. So, to parallel the example, statutory law in our Monopoly game, in our world, would be if your game piece is a borrower, or if your game piece is a lender or a debtor. Okay, so those statutes govern those game pieces within the game. That is what statutory law is. But here is a cheat code, okay? You can create a trust within the game. Okay, so the trust would then create its own laws. Those laws are called bylaws. Okay, so the trust would take those statutes and game pieces, they would create their own statutes and game pieces. You can name your statutes and game pieces executors. You can name them trustees. Okay. So these are your game pieces within your trust. And the cool thing about your trust is that you can come up with your own rules. So if you do not create your own trust with your own game pieces, your own statutes, and create your own rules that governs those statutes, then by default, you fall under the rules that Monopoly assigned you for those statutes. So if you do not have any rules of your own, usually a trust is the most convenient that people use in order to circumvent having to follow those statutory laws set up for their game piece. Okay, a trust, it can create its own bylaws. The trust is superior to the statutory laws and the rules. So when you come into court, okay, if you guys listen to Patrick, you know he said that some women, that when they went to court, some of the women said, you know, I stand by the book of Ruth, and the judge ended up having to dismiss the case. That is because the Bible is a type of trust document. It teaches you how to maintain a trust, okay? How to maintain a family, what behaviors you should engage in, and what behaviors you want to stay away from, because the bad behaviors impact the trust, which impacts the family, okay? And makes it easier for others to come in and kind of override your will, if that makes sense, okay? So, plainly explained, statutory law is nothing more than how courts and governments, okay, label certain game pieces like borrower or debtor or creditor, okay? And those game pieces are governed by certain rules. So if your contract is honest, like for example, mortgage contracts refer to you as a borrower, okay? And so, since the contract refers to you as a borrower, if your contract ends up in court, the judge says, okay, I'm dealing with a borrower game piece. Here are the statutes for the borrower, okay? Your family would think that you were crazy if you guys were playing Monopoly and you started to lose the game, and suddenly you stand up and you flip the board and you start cursing at people at playing the game, and you're telling them that, listen, I'm a living man and I'm not really a shoe or a boot or a battleship, and I'm a red-blooded man, I'm a sojourner on the land, and yeah, you don't get to tell me what to do. Your family would think that you are crazy. The courts think the same thing. Okay, so I don't suggest it. I'm not telling you what to do. You are free to decide for yourself. I do not suggest, yes, it is a game. Absolutely. Okay. Yes, it is a game. It is obvious that if you're standing before a judge that you're alive. Okay. No one is questioning that. Uh, that you are not a living woman or a living man, okay? But you need to understand the context in which you are using this phrase, a living woman or a living man. If you are just saying this because, you know, you're scared, I really don't understand what's happening to me, okay? The courts are going to immediately label you incompetent, and that judge is going to take a fiduciary or executor styled uh, posture and start to represent you because you're incompetent. You are incompetent. You're either incapacitated, or some in cases they treat you as if you're deceased. Some of you guys have felt like that when you've gone into court. You feel like you have absolutely no control over what is happening to you in court, and it seems like the judge is just dictating everything to you. It's because it does not matter what what the smokescreen is, whether it's family court, whether it's traffic court, if the judge is dictating to you rather than being a neutral arbitrator, okay, between two parties, is someone who's neutral. I don't have a stake in the outcome of this. If that is not the case, where the judge is acting neutral, and the parties have demonstrated their competency and they're here to settle a dispute. They both equally have their evidence, and we're going to allow them to engage in due process. And the person that has the best evidence and the best supporting arguments and evidence is the winner. That is the way that it's supposed to go. But if you are being dictated to, okay, and it does not matter what you say, it feels like, the judge is treating me like I'm dead or like I'm incapacitated or I'm incompetent, okay? The judge is now an administrator because it's implied by your behavior, okay? Remember, an agreement can be implied, and at this point, he's telling the guy, he's disclosing to him that I represented you in those prior cases. Um, in a lot of cases, they don't disclose to you that they're acting on your behalf, which is a violation. I never gave you fiduciary like authority over me or over my assets. So I want to know, from where do you derive your authority? Because most trustees or executors or fiduciaries have to have some sort of appointment by the person who is delegating the authority, and you never gave that authority. But the courts, they assume that because of your incompetence, okay? You don't have any trust law here, so you fall under statutory law, okay? And statutory law are really rules for, this is why we call them decedents, okay? Or uh, incompetent or incapacitated, okay? Is because the judge gets to decide what happens to the assets of those individuals as if they are deceased. Okay, are you really deceased? No, you're not, but you're behaving in an incompetent manner. You do not know how to take a posture where you're asking the court questions to gain clarity on exactly what is the nature of these proceedings. Those questions that you ask, they actually attack jurisdiction. For example, if we're in family court and the judge is telling me when I can and I can't see my children, and the judge is labeling me a non-custodial parent, okay, this is an estate administration. This is not family court. This is not something that would be in the best interest of the family, okay? But if you and mom are in this court arguing and fighting, this is incompetence. Okay, and you need someone competent to come in and handle your affairs. So if you do not want this to take place, jurisdiction over, does the court, I just want to, understand, does the court have jurisdiction over my children? Because the last I checked, I'm one of the co-creators with mom or with dad. I'm the creator of these children, and so I kind of feel that something other than family court, some other proceeding other than what I understood it to be, which was family court, is taking place, such as the administration of my estate, such as assigning certain roles to individuals within my estate or within my family, and I don't think that that's appropriate. That's competency. Okay, but standing up, I'm a red-blooded man, a sojourner on the land. This is incompetency. Okay, because you're not really articulating anything. They're going to label you a sovereign citizen, and they're going to rule against you, and you're not going to know exactly how to get out of that situation. So let's listen to this guy a little bit more.
No. Okay. So, well, you can hope and wish and dream, whatever. If you want to represent yourself, you're entitled to do that, right? But, while I like to tell people it's brain surgery, when you need brain surgery, when you need heart surgery, are you going to do that on yourself? Because you're not trained, you don't know how to perform open heart surgery.
Okay, Notice how the judge, okay, you if you needed brain surgery, you wouldn't perform brain surgery on yourself. Your Honor, with all due respect, those that example is not synonymous to what is taking place here. Okay, obviously surgery is something that is separate from me representing myself in an incident involving a traffic violation where I was the person with firsthand knowledge of what took place. Okay, so this example that he's giving is not a fair equivalence. It also ties into, if you guys, I hate politics. I hate it. I think politics is a fancy word for religion. I think that it is tearing our country apart. I do understand that everyone has different beliefs, okay? And I respect another person's beliefs just as I want them to respect mine. However, okay, I've heard these arguments before when the question of, like, let's say, what is a woman comes up and someone tries to answer it, and then the person would like cut them off and they would say, well, you're not a biologist, or you're not a doctor. Okay, so how can you define what a woman is? And so it's kind of like it's offensive in a way, because it's like I've been a woman yes, I started out as a girl, but I've been a woman for a long time. Like I think I kind of got the definition down pat. Not only am I a woman, I've taken on other roles that women take on. A wife, a mother, okay, a nurturer. Absolutely, I am a woman. Like, by nature, I don't need to have a doctor's license in order to state what this is. But the purpose of bringing up that, well, you're not a doctor, so you can't tell us what a woman or what a man is, it is to deter you or defeat you from feeling as if you are qualified to enough to answer this question. So being the thing that is being discussed, like being a woman, is not that's not a good enough credential. You need someone outside of you to be able to confirm for you what exactly a woman is. And this is nothing more, like I said, than a tactic. And it's a cheap tactic, okay, to defeat another person's position. This judge, okay, is doing this very same thing. He's comparing two things that are not alike, okay, brain surgery to, representing myself in a traffic stop, especially if I have firsthand knowledge. Now, if I was in brain surgery and I was injured as a result, then I would be able to give firsthand knowledge of how I was affected, okay, by this brain surgery. Okay, so this is not a fair equivalence. And so the individual kind of standing there, I think, he's a little nervous. The judge seems overly confident. Okay, he's talking, saying a million words a minute. That can kind of be intimidating, especially when you're in an environment where you really don't understand many things. And you think that the judge is this all powerful wizard. So the judges, they kind of thrive on that. Uh, the perception of the public that they really have power. And the more you start to study, you guys, you find out that the courts are, of the three branches of government, they have the least power.
Same thing with the law. You're not trained in it. I'm assuming that you didn't go to law school, did you? How far did you get in school?
I graduated school. I went to some college.
What does that have to do with this proceeding? Whether or not I went to law school, I don't need a law degree to tell you what happened to me at a traffic stop. I don't need a law degree to give a firsthand account of what took place during a traffic stop. I do not need any of those things. Okay, so what this judge is referring to is statutory law. Think of monopoly. He knows the rules of monopoly like the back of his hand. So this is where trust law becomes useful, okay? Especially if, like, I know that there are different religions out there, guys, and I'm using this as an example. I'm a Christian. I'm okay if you're of a different religion. I'm totally okay with that. I respect that. But I'm a Christian. So, yeah, you may be proficient in in statutory law, okay, but I'm proficient in the law that governs my estate. Okay, I'm very proficient in that, and I am able to understand, like, this is it's offensive, sort of what this judge is saying, okay, because he's directly attacking the intellect of the person. Oh, you don't have a law degree. It's kind of like going to the doctor, right? When you go to the doctor and the doctor is like, oh yeah, something's wrong with your medulla oblongata, and just because I don't know what medulla oblongata is, okay, because that is a it is a word that doctors use. But if I translate the word, okay, so this word means head. Okay, so something's wrong with my head. Yes, there is. I suffer from migraines. Okay, sometimes when my migraines are active, I have stomach aches. I feel nauseous. Okay, but just because you have this uh, word that you use within your profession that is a word that I may not be familiar with, does not mean that I am not qualified to speak about what happens to my body or what parts of my body ails me. If that's the case, then why does the doctor ask you for symptoms? You get what I mean? You need a first-hand account from me to be able to even assess this situation. So technically, you are equal to the doctor. Okay? You're equal to the doctor. Some people approach the doctor in this inferior kind of manner. And yes, doctor, I'll do whatever you say. You have to be careful with that. Doctors are also legal drug dealers. Okay? You have to be careful with that, with how you approach any situation, as if you're inferior, okay, to the person that's asserting that I am the professional here, not you. Okay, you're not a professional. What law? And that's another thing. What law are you proficient in? Because there are different types of laws out there. You have biblical law, you have ecclesiastical law, you have trust law, estate law. So can you tell me exactly what law are you delegating here today? Okay, you want to be witty, quick on your feet, good at comebacks. You kind of have to work at it, practice at it. But what this guy is doing is sort of, I think that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. You guys may perceive it differently. But what this guy is doing, I think it's very condescending. I think it's in a way offensive. You're incompetent to defend yourself.
How far did you get?
2 years I got certificates. Not in college, but I went to school.
Okay. So we're in the middle of trial now. And so I don't have the time to go through all of what they're called Faretta warnings to see whether you should represent yourself. I'm happy to do that.
Threat of warnings to see if you should represent yourself. Yes, because you can totally take his license and send him home for what he's doing. What he's doing is taking a particular, okay, so let's say, let me give you an example to make this plainer to you. If you were being tried for murder, and when you got into the court started imposing family law. They started talking about all this family law in a murder trial, okay? You don't have jurisdiction to hear this. You're a family court. You don't have the jurisdiction to, this is a murder case, and you're hearing a murder case in a family court. Okay, that's another example of jurisdiction, but this is traffic court, okay? And in traffic court, he is about to apply a state law in traffic court. So that is another jurisdiction. That is a jurisdiction different from what the defendant believed, that they believed that they were coming to a traffic infraction. You get what I'm saying? A traffic infraction usually is between two parties. You see that there's only one party present. There is no injured party here. So this is something else. Okay? You have to become aware. You have to start to think. Okay? Traffic infractions are between two individuals, okay? Someone hit another person's car. Maybe we were both at fault. Maybe we both merged over into the same lane at the same time and we hit each other. In an instance like that, neither of us are liable. Patrick says this, two gods trying to be in the same place at the same time is an impossibility. So I walk away and fix the damages to my car, and you walk away and fix the damages to your car. Now, if I blew a light and then I T-bone you, oh no, I'm 100% liable for the damages done to you, anyone within that vehicle, the property. If someone else's a car was hit as a result of that, okay, but this guy is just him. It's just him in court. There is no injured party. Okay, so that is the first um that's the one of the first things you should notice. Okay? And so now he's saying that I have to conduct this test on you, a threat, sort of like a threat assessment. And the threat assessment is, are you competent? Because I'm about to administer your estate, which is outside of my jurisdiction. And I have to be sure that it's safe to do that before I go forward. Okay? You think you're in traffic court. You're not. The traffic court is just a smoke screen. I don't have a better word for like a prop. Okay? It's just a reason to get you in there. And then once you're in there, they try to assess your competency, and then they begin to use statutory, estate, and probate and trust laws in order to facilitate the administration of your estate, passing a judgment on you that places a hold on your license. You either pay the fee, pay this traffic fine, or pay this fee, or we will not, you will not have driving privileges. Okay? They're forcing you to pay a certain amount of, if you're being, this is in administration, you're being full because you're incompetent. I'm not saying that you're incompetent. This is what they think. Okay, and he's about to assess this guy to find out how big of a threat is he. Okay.
Why don't we delay it off a week? Are you working at this time?
Yeah, and I stay in Austin. I don't live in Houston, so
What do you do for a living?
I have my own business.
Doing what?
Resell clothing, audio production.
How much money do you make a month?
I can't tell you, but it pays the bills.
You're very cryptic in all of your answers. And not only that, but you going to Austin, if you represent yourself, you're going to have to meet with the DAs on a constant basis to get evidence. So that's going to require you to come here to Houston quite a bit.
I was raised.
He's delegating to him. He's now, it looks like he's just telling him the rules, but in reality, like I said, this is in a state administration. He's delegating the rules to him. What's going to happen? Well, since you live in another city, you're going to have to do blase, 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 blase. Okay?
Find my most if I need to be.
Okay. Before I do that, though, I need to have a Feretta hearing. If you're willing to wait, we can do that a little bit later when I take a break in trial.
I had my other case upstairs the same day. The judge from when I came to my last
hearing. There yet?
No, I haven't been up there yet.
So go up there. When you're done, come back down here. Don't forget to come back. If you don't come back, I'm going to issue a warrant. Go take care of yourself upstairs and come.
If you don't come back, I'm going to issue a warrant. The two things you guys need to know, that warrant has two types of definitions, okay? The first definition of warrant is a check, okay? The second definition of warrant is a order that a court issues for the seizure of something or someone, okay? So it's sort of like a bounty. They're putting a bounty, but a bounty on what? A bounty or a claim to someone's estate assets. Okay, that's what it is. So if it's traffic court, if this is traffic, I'm assuming that this is traffic court. I think that's what I heard. I could be wrong. But if this is traffic court, and if you don't show up to traffic court, I'm going to issue a warrant. If you issue a warrant for someone, the number one estate asset of piece of property of your estate is your body. So this has nothing to do with traffic. This is an administrative proceeding involving estate property. And your number one estate asset is your body. And not only that, they use your body as collateral in loans. That's why you go to jail. If you look up like a jail is a holdings company. Most banks are holdings company. It just holds property. on behalf of another party. It's valuable property though. Okay? So they all do this, y'all. All of them do this. Traffic court, family courts, what other courts they have out there? Whatever type of court you can think of, they all do this. They get you evictions court. They get you into court, and you think you're here for, let's say, a landlord tenant issue. Let's say the local courts issue a eviction citation against you after a foreclosure, okay? And so you're thinking that, okay, well, my home went to foreclosure, and now I'm going to, the person who purchased the property at the eviction is going to evict me. In those statutory rules governing evictions, okay, the courts are limited to landlord tenant issues, meaning there must be a lease agreement between the parties, and no lease agreement exists between the parties, okay? And so if a home goes to eviction after foreclosure and there is no landlord tenant relationship between the homeowner and whoever this person is claiming that they purchased the a property at the auction, this court does not have jurisdiction. But what ends up happening is these people, you find out that they are friends, second cousins and things of that nature. So what will happen is that they figured that, well, if it got this far, the homeowner must be incompetent, okay? And so what they'll do is they'll go to the local justice of the peace court, and they'll file this eviction, and technically the justice of the peace court is supposed to throw out the eviction because there's no landlord tenant relationship here. Everything here is regarding title. Okay, it is regarding the title, it is regarding possession, title and possession. Okay, in landlord tenant court, the landlord obviously gets the right to possess because it's their home. They just rented it out to someone. But those conditions don't exist in a foreclosure. There is no landlord tenant relationship. Okay, so what's happening in evictions court is a estate conveyance, like your property. It's being conveyed. The landlord tenant court is just a smokescreen, and what they are actually doing is facilitating a conveyance of your property underneath the smokescreen of landlord tenant court, which is inappropriate. It's improper. It's not supposed to happen, but they do it all the time because people don't kind of understand. They yell, you don't have jurisdiction, but they don't know how to articulate it. Okay?
I'm back. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. So today is September 11th, 2024. It's approximately 12:25 p.m. We are now in Court 5. In front of me, I have Eaton Imitum, case number 2522688. Would you please identify yourself for purpose of the record?
If a man eats on Amazon,
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? That you're going to tell the truth. That's it. Yes? Okay. State and judge.
The judge was saying that he was swearing to the oath. I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, because he's representing this guy. He told him that I've represented you before several times. And so the judge behind the defendant just swore an oath.
Identify. Okay. So the reason that we're putting this on the record now is Mr. Emitom has been charged with the offense of unlawful carrying of a weapon. The case is 40 days old. It appears that probable cause has already been found. I don't know if I did probable cause on this, or if I don't know if another judge did, because I don't remember Mr. Emitom, and I was out a week.
it was another judge, sir.
Yeah, lollygagging. So let's just do it for.
On August 2nd, 2024, officers observed a car without a front license plate, change lanes without a signal, and have expired registration as of March 2023. Upon approaching, officers smelled marijuana PC search returned 4.17 grams and a Lotus Smith & Wesson handgun. Additionally, there was a backpack with 3 checks that did not belong to him. Officer called Kumamoto, who said the checks were stolen from her restaurant on July 8th. When defendant broke the front window, went to the back where the checks were kept in the office, broke the hinge of the back door, and exited.
So as a result, because of that, he was charged with felony fraud on that one, on the check. Okay. Yes, he has an open case in the 182nd. Looks like he made a $15,000 bond. With us, I am going to find there's probable cause to go forward. Well, hold on a second. We'll get there. I'll let you say peace, but do you have a Texas driver license?
The U.S. got private property number with the FMCSA. With my vehicle was on there. It was sticker tags, everything for my business, the Amazon Estates. That's with the Department of Transportation.
Is that from the state of Texas or from where?
This is federal. This is with the Department of Transportation.
Okay, but you still need a Texas driver license, and you need registration and
I did all my stuff with them because it was private property that I had. They said I didn't, if I didn't need to get registration with the state of Texas because I registered. And they said that would be my volunteer, but since it's private property, I wouldn't have to register it.
Okay.
Okay, the thing that you guys don't understand, and he doesn't understand it either, and the judge is about to have a field day with him in terms of his competency to defend himself. Okay, obviously we don't know if all these charges of marijuana, carrying a gun, okay, we're not really judging that, but we are absolutely looking at the demeanor of the judge and the demeanor of the defendant, and we are looking at the defendant's ability to competently defend themselves. Okay, so he starts to talk about that, hey, I have a Texas Department of Transportation. He starts to talk about private property, okay, and things of that sort. If you guys get pulled over in traffic, this is one of the things that I do. Okay, if I get pulled over by the cops, okay, number one, you're absolutely going to have a driver's license. You're going to have that. You're going to have a driver's license. Registration is optional. Like here in Texas, it's not required. Okay, here in Texas, it's not required unless under certain circumstances, obviously engaging in commerce. Okay, but those companies are going to be sure that they register those vehicles. But for private property, okay, that's a different private property is a different situation. Okay, you're going to have a driver's license. You're going to have insurance until you learn how to self-insure. Okay, you're going to carry those two things, even if you don't have a registration. A registration is pretty easy to defeat. But if you just want, like, I don't really want to be bothered with these people right now until I have a bit more of an understanding. I'm going to have my license, I'm going to have my registration, and I'm going to have at least limited liability insurance, okay, to cover minor infractions, okay? You're going to have these three things. Here is what I do if I'm pulled over by the police. You guys do not understand privacy. The first thing you do when you are pulled over by the cops or you go to court is you start to tell on yourself. You betray yourself. You give up more information than you should. And then you turn around and say, well, I have a right to privacy. You sure do, but you just gave it up voluntarily. Okay? And this is why they think you're incompetent. If I'm pulled over by the police, okay, and the officer asks me, how you doing, ma'am? Do you know I pull you over because you ran a stop sign? I don't respond. Can I have your license, registration, and insurance? Okay. Now, he just told me that he pulled me over because he witnessed me do something. He just made a statement. That's all. All he did was pull me over and he made a statement to me. That was it. In making a statement does not require a response. You guys understand? It doesn't require a response. So what this cop is trained to do is to solicit a reaction from you. Okay, I don't give a reaction. You just made a statement, officer. Okay, how else can I help you? Okay, driver's license and registration. I do apologize, officer, but my driver's license is unavailable. So is my registration and insurance. I do have a substitute for you if you need government issued identification. I do have a passport. Okay, the reason for this is your driver's license has a lot of your private information on it: your name, your height, your weight, your eye color, okay, where you live, your signature. And if you guys have been following me long enough, that strip on the back of your card is it grants access to some sort of financial account. Okay, this is a lot of information to hand over to someone willy-nilly just because they're standing here with a gun, just because they think that they're law enforcement. They don't even know what the law is. The law that they're trying to enforce upon you is the statutory law that governs drivers. Okay, you're not a driver. If you're in your private capacity, you're not a driver. Does it make sense for you to sit here and argue that with this person? No, it does not. I'm not going to argue with you that I have a right to privacy. I'm going to invoke it. You understand? Do you actually have a driver's license? Yes, you do. And the reason that you have one is because you're going to start to learn to make money off these people. Okay? You did not say that you don't have a license. You said that it's unavailable. Are you listening? It's not available. Well, where is it? I wish I had a better answer for you. It's just unavailable at the moment. Okay? That's it. You stand by that, officer. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be difficult. I wish I had the information present with me. I do not have it on my persons at this moment. It's not in my car. I don't have it. It's not available at the moment. I did not say it don't exist. I said it's unavailable because I'm protecting my goddamn privacy. You pull me over. You told me you pulled me over for a bullshit reason. Okay? You guys also need to understand emergency powers. Okay? Emergency powers invokes a different set of rules. Let me explain to you what I mean. If a cop gets behind you and they are flashing their emergency lights, okay? They are trying to indicate to you that there is an emergency, okay? You have been trained to think something else is going on. Okay, you can look this up in the statutes if you'd like. But their emergency lights are for emergencies. Now, when an emergency takes place or happens, they use their emergency lights, okay? You pull over because technically the rules of the road for emergency vehicles, and we want to comply. It's not um like if there's an emergency, do I have to pull over? No, I don't. Will I pull over? Absolutely. What if that was my grandma that had a heart attack? Or what if it was, my husband that needed medical assistance, or one of my kids? Okay. So that is the way that I sort of think about it. Excuse me, guys. So, yes, it is a brief inconvenience, but I pull over. Okay, I pull over. So that's the reason you're pulling over, because you were under the belief that there was an emergency. When there is an emergency, the officers can now act under special powers, which is why they do this. Remember the smoke screen that I told you about, okay? So they pull you over a lot of times under false pretenses, and then they try to solicit all of this information out of you to help the courts facilitate an estate administration under the guise of traffic court. Okay? It makes total sense, y'all. Some of this stuff is not as creepy as you think it is. It makes total sense, okay? That, let's say I have a blue Hyundai Sonata, okay? I drive a blue Hyundai Sonata. Let's say that someone saw me flee the scene of a crime, okay? And the cops were told that, hey, I got a black female, 5'10", 170 pounds, brown eyes, black hair, driving she's pregnant with driving a blue Hyundai 2017 blue Hyundai Sonata. She just fled Bank of America. Okay, and now the cops are pulling me over. Okay, the cops are now pulling over my vehicle because they just got this radio that a crime had just was just committed. So when the officer pulls me over, this justifies him running my license plate, okay, in the name of his safety and in the name of public safety, because I could be a dangerous criminal. He or she is running my license plate, okay, to find out if I have any criminal past, okay, do I own any weapons, okay. They are violating my privacy under emergency powers by running my plate. They are violating my Fourth Amendment. But remember, in emergency circumstances, those regular statutes are suspended. Not statutes, the Constitution. Not the Constitution. It's not suspended. I'm so sorry, I misspoke. In emergency situations, they may violate or forego a constitutional right in the name of public safety. Okay, and it makes total sense. You just got a call that I robbed the Bank of America, okay, at gunpoint. I fled in a blue Hyundai Sonata, and you kind of got a good look at me when I drove past you. I look like the black female that they just described. So it makes sense that you pull me over, okay? This is an emergency, okay? We were just told you committed a crime. And not only is it an emergency, I think you might be a dangerous criminal because of what you just did. As a cop, I don't want to pull you over and you freaking shoot me. So I'm going to run your plate and try to get as much information about you as I can. That is acceptable. That is understandable. Most people understand that. Okay? But if you pull me over and you say, and you ran my license plate, you just violated my Fourth Amendment right to unreasonable search and seizure. You searched my license plate. That was the first violation. So anything that comes after that, it don't matter. You don't have probable cause because you were not told that I just fled the scene of a crime and I fit the description of a suspect. So there was no emergency here. You pull me over under false pretenses and you're violating my constitutional rights and my privacy. Am I going to say that to you? No, I'm not, because then you're going to bring me under the statute of a sovereign citizen and you're going to escalate this situation. And when say escalate, I mean you're probably going to use force against me. The agency probably taught you to treat me a certain type of way to say that I'm crazy. So I'm not going to go that route. Okay? But you guys need to everyone is not going to, it's not someone else's responsibility to tell you what your rights are or to tell you how you've been violated. Okay, so when I'm pulled over by the cops and they come up to me and they make a statement, oh, you ran past a stop sign, that's a statement. I don't respond to it. Driver's license, registration, and insurance. There's no injured party here, but I'm not about to say that to you. Y'all get it? There's no injured party here, and I ain't damaged nobody property, so why would I give you my insurance card? It has how much insurance I carry, so y'all can extort me. It tells you where I live. You know what don't tell you where I live? My passport. Which is why I give it to you. And I open an iPostal 1 account with an address somewhere else in the country. You can send as many notices to that address as you want. It's just going to get returned, but you don't know where I live. You're going to have to violate privacy laws in order to get it, like you've already done when you ran my plates, when you ran my license plate and there was no emergency. You told me that there was no emergency when you pulled me over. So my next question to you, after I give you the passport and I let you know that, officer, I don't mean to be difficult. I'm sorry. I do not have the information available. I don't have a driver's license available, registration, nor do I have the insurance available with me. I do have a passport. Did y'all hear me? Go get a driver's license and a passport. Stop listening to people tell you this stuff makes you a slave. Y'all, it's so much mess out here. That's why y'all are so paranoid. Because there's so much mess out here. Go get the damn driver's license and the passport. Or don't get it if you don't want to. Okay, I want to always not make it seem like you have to do something. You don't have to do shit. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. I say go get it because I'm telling you how you are about to make some money because this officer got you pulled over on the side of the road wasting your goddamn time. You could be smiling with your wife, laughing with your kids, okay? And you're losing this time for some mess because you sitting here talking about you saw me drive through a stop sign. Is you out your goddamn mind? And you got me pulled over on the side of the damn road like this. Somebody can just mistake my car and hit me. You're endangering me, my kids, my husband. Got us pulled over like this. Yeah, I'm finna take care of you. But you have to know what you're talking about. Okay? You want to ask the officer, I have a question for you. Um, did you receive any calls that, my vehicle fit the description of a vehicle fleeing the scene of a crime? Or did you receive a description of me stating that I was involved in any, crime or fleeing the scene of a crime, or I fit the description of a suspect? Because now you're asking questions you're trying to establish what statute are you under right now? Are you under your emergency powers? Or are you under what's going on? Because technically he can't pull you over unless there was an emergency. So what you're establishing when you ask this question, okay, is that there was no emergency. This is what this judge is talking about, probable cause. There was no emergency. So there was no reason for you to pull me over. Telling me that you saw me run a stop sign, that was a statement. Okay? That's a statement that I'm not confirming this statement, and I'm not about to sit here and hand you over all my private information. You have a right to privacy, but y'all don't. You have to think about ways to defend your shit. Okay? You have to think about it. Okay, so what you already know is that you pull me over with your emergency lights. And under these emergency powers, you violated my Fourth Amendment right. Unreasonable search and seizure. The search was you searched my license plate and you obtained information, private information, without my consent. Nothing happens to you without your consent. You have to consent unless it's an emergency. You understand? And when you ask him, sir, was my vehicle, I'm just, curious, was my vehicle implicated in a crime, fleeing the scene of a crime, attached to a crime? Do I fit the description of a suspect? Oh no, ma'am. I just saw you run a stop sign. Okay. So no emergency, right? No, no emergency. Cause they stupid. They don't know, they don't even know their own rules. Like I tell y'all about the IRS. They don't know their rules. And y'all don't be knowing it either. They do not know their own rules. Okay? Now, you ran my plate without cause. Probable cause would have been an emergency. It would have made total sense if I just robbed the Bank of America for you to run my plates and try to get as much information on me as you could in the name of your safety and public safety, because I'm out here robbing people. So it makes total sense why you violated my Fourth Amendment. I violated other people's right. I seized somebody else's money and property. Equal protection under the law say now my shit can get seized. You get it? Okay? I am not saying that these cops, by doing this, that they still won't ego trip. I'm not saying that they won't ego trip, that they won't lie on you and say you was driving without a license. That's not what I said. I never told you I didn't have a license. I said that it was unavailable. And they might still write a ticket against you. They might still try to escalate the situation. I cannot guarantee what another person will or will not do. I cannot guarantee you that they will not escalate the situation or still try to issue you a ticket. You ain't get them no information, and when you show up to court and the court says license, registration, and insurance, you do the same thing, Your Honor. It's unavailable. Because the court is trying to get you to now justify all this shit that they did. The courts want you to justify this now by giving them evidence. No, why would I do that? It's unavailable. Why would I help you violate me? Why would I help you in an estate administration? Why would I help you do that? This judge cannot they can neither exonerate you nor can they find you guilty. They can do neither. So even if you felt like, okay, well, if I give them my license, registration, and insurance, surely that would get my case dismissed. No, no, it might not. And you just incriminated yourself. You gave them unredacted information about you. No, you don't give them anything. You just simply say it's unavailable. Well, didn't you know you were coming to court today? Yes, I did. Well, why don't you have the driver's license and insurance? Uh, I wish I had a better justification for why I don't have it, but it's unavailable. They're trying to get you to produce the information to say that you were a driver. And what you're saying by withholding it is, fuck you, I'm a traveler. And if you are going to say that I am a driver, then you produce the information. Then you produce it, but you're not about to ask me to produce it. And that's how you defend your right to travel. But you're not a traveler if you get them a driver's license. You just said that I'm operating under this statute now. So under their monopoly rules, remember for statutes, the driver statute, this is how driver statutes are to be governed. Okay? I ain't giving you nothing. There's no injured party here. I'm not even going to say that. I can see that for myself. Why would I say something that I can obviously see? Y'all know ain't no injured party here. This ain't no traffic court because there's no injured party. There is no one here saying, hey, Christina blew that stop sign and T-boned my car and I'm injured as a result. I would have gave it all up right then and there. I would have gave up my insurance. Because yes, I did. I wasn't paying attention. My baby was in the backseat crying. I got distracted. And I hit this woman's car. Yes, I did do this. I'm going to give up the insurance. Y'all understand? You get it? You have to defend your right to privacy. You can't say I got a right to privacy and then you start giving up all your private information. Are y'all crazy? I know y'all are not stupid.
From what I know of the law, you need a Texas driver license to be able to drive.
This is, what's this case being tried on? That's what I'm trying to, because I'm kind of don't know what it's being tried on.
It's
Criminal, civil,
criminal, yeah. Right. In jail time, right?
I believe so. But
weren't you taken to jail?
Yeah.
So that wouldn't lead you to believe it's criminal, right?
Yeah, but under common law, or is it military and tribunal? Because also with
I've been waiting for something like this for so long. This is so much fun.
He don't know where he at. He don't know what's happening. What kind of law are you prosecuting under? Statutory law? Specifically estate, probate, trust. Estate, probate, and trust have criminal provisions within them. And I urge y'all to read it. You should know what it says. That is the jurisdiction that he's using, criminal court. Okay, this is not traffic. Obviously, they're saying now that it's criminal. I guess they elevated it from traffic to criminal. But you also have to listen to how he's referring to, yeah, this is a criminal court. I bet it, I know it is. It sure is a criminal court. You were taken to jail, right? Yeah, that was a crime. And you don't know how to articulate the crime because they kept telling you you did all these bad things to justify you accepting the fact that they're putting you in jail, that they're holding your body as collateral. These are charges. You hear the word? Charges. Money. It has nothing to do with morality. It has everything to do with money. And the law that he is using is an estate administration. I've been waiting for something like this. Yes, for somebody incapacitated, incompetent to come in here. Is this military jurisdiction? Is this is incompetence? This is crazy. When I talk to you guys like in confidence about military, the French around the flag, okay? Yes, those things are true. What they're doing is technically this is a war crime. You're not going to go in there and say that, especially if you don't know how to explain it. They're about to plunder and pillage your damn estate without no authority, no delegation of authority, no power of attorney. He done already said, oh, I represent you all the time in administering your assets. We pull you over all the time. We seize your property. This is in a state administration. And he's the representative, a de facto executor of the estate. But he was not appointed, and you don't know what kind of questions. The tactics should change at this point to fiduciary style questions. Questions. Always ask questions. Put them on the spot. But he's just making statements. Oh, well, what type of court is this? You can tell based on how he's acting.
I'm just trying to see what I'm being tried on, because what I was told with the U.S. side, I had to register with the state of Texas with the registration or licensing. I do have my own place with that vehicle too as well. So
you need a license to drive, a Texas driver license. That's it. You either have one or you don't. The federal government has regulated to the states through the Constitution that they have allowed the states on their own initiative to create laws regarding driving on highways and byways. So that's why you see every single state has different requirements for licensing, insurance, mode of transportation. The federal government has somewhat to do with it, but by and large, they have delegated to the states that they are their own entity with regard to creating laws in their specific highways.
You understand? You think the only type of state is the state of Texas or the state that you live in. I'm a state, you're a state. The federal government has delegated that the states are its own entity. Okay, meaning the state of Texas, okay, if you look up what a person is, the state of Texas is technically a person. A person is a corporation or a trust or an estate, okay? The state of Texas has what's called a banking charter. Think of a banking charter, no, nothing, think of it as a trust, a declaration of trust, okay, with its own set of bylaws. So in the Declaration of Trust for the state of Texas, they define all these different roles. Here is what a driver is. Okay, this is their monopoly game. Here is what a driver is. Here is what a borrower is. Here's what a lender is. Okay, they define all the game pieces. You see how the state sets up its government, different departments and agencies? You're supposed to have that as a family. But if you look at the family, like the statistics, I don't know if those statistics are true. I know statistics. Ugh, I got tongue tied. I know those numbers get manipulated all the time. But the number of families are on a decline. But if the family was together, it would operate like this. It would operate, it would function, it would run like a government. In my religious beliefs, the man is the head of the government. The man is. And he gets to delegate certain roles down to everyone else. These are the rules for children. This is the rules for my wife. Not to abuse my wife or control my wife, but these rules are set in place to protect my wife. Okay? There are other men out here that would harm my wife. So my wife needs to understand, okay, you don't need to be away from home at no 1, 2 o'clock in the morning where I can't defend you and protect you. You don't need to be at no bar under the influence 1, 2 o'clock in the morning around a man that I don't know where I cannot protect you. My kids, you need to be back in the house when the street lights come on. Y'all get it?
So that's why every single state has a different type of license, different type of insurance. Like the Texas driver license is what, white, versus Arkansas might be yellow or red, or Hawaii might be. So that's every.
Correct. So you absolutely can have your own private driver's license. You absolutely can. If you get pulled over, I would not give that license up to a soul because it's private. If someone is making a claim against me, then I'll give up the insurance. There are different types of insurance. You don't have to have commercial insurance. You can have self-insurance. Make your own insurance policy. One of the hardest things that is going to be to teach you guys is banking. It is difficult to teach that, especially if you don't have a family unit. It's hard to understand it. Banking. Families get that. When you look at these some of these, I don't want to call them incestuous. I don't know if they're practicing incest. But when you look at like some of these families that have existed for a long time, and then they delegate certain roles to different family members. Everybody is not going to be able to do banking. It has so many tenets to it, so many subsections. You're going to need different parts within your group or family to delegate these tasks to based upon their capabilities. But with a trust, for example, I was talking to one of my clients about this in a Zoom that I had about 2 days ago. And I was explaining to him that you guys can absolutely do your own auto loans. You can do your own mortgages, but you're going to have a trust. The trust is going to be the creditor. You do your own application. Okay, like let's say if it's for a house, the house is $500,000. You're going to do your own application for that house. An application simply is telling whoever's assisting you, that could be your trustee or it could be the wealth manager at a bank. You're going to fill out the application. The application, it gives the instructions on how the instrument is to be constructed. Who is the seller? Who is this instrument? Who are we paying this instrument to? The seller or the seller's agent? What is the value of the home? What is the interest rate? You're going to put a 0% interest rate. You will not charge yourself interest. You're going to go get your credit report. You're going to get your income statement. Okay? You're going to create the promissory note and you're going to promise to pay your trust. I promise to pay my trust $500,000 and no interest. You give that to your trustee. Your trustee takes it back to your trust at whatever bank you're banking with and deposit the promissory note to create the credits. Once the credits are created, that 500,000 is transferred to the seller. The home is bought. This is the part you need to listen to. You are actually going to make payments every month back to the trust because you do not want the bank to report you as a shell company. And it's your trust. It's a savings plan. Y'all understand? Everything is about savings. It is a savings plan. You are going to make payments. Even if you do that for a car, you're going to get your own application. You're going to pull your own credit report. You're going to pull your own income to show that you are qualified to create this instrument, this financial instrument. Deposit it into your trust. You need a declaration of trust. That declaration of trust is kept private. You need a certification of trust, which delegates what the powers of the trustee are. It needs to say that the trustee has the power to deposit financial instruments into the trust account. Declaration of trust is kept private. It got your beneficiaries on it. If I wanted to rob your trust, all I got to do is find out who the beneficiaries are. Take them hostage and get them to open up the safe. Y'all get it? This is one of the reasons I don't agree with people walking around saying that they're the beneficiary. I look at things now as competent or incompetent. I think that's incompetence. That's just my personal opinion. You have a right to, think or believe whatever you want. If you get a car, okay, you need to be able to demonstrate. Let me put it in perspective. Y'all think that a lot of this stuff, okay, that is bad. Okay? If if homeless people, if somebody homeless was able to buy the house next door to me, okay? And they have no income. They don't have any way to maintain the infrastructure. The government has a mandate to oversee the infrastructure of the country. That includes houses. That includes abandoned cars and shit like that on the side of the road, okay? I would be highly pissed if somebody homeless moved in next door. These people don't have no goddamn income. They have no way to manage the infrastructure. The fences falling apart, okay? The windows ain't no good. And this shit is next door to my house. The grass is 10 feet high. It is snakes and rodents and shit in the grass. The inside is falling apart. What do you think that does to the value of my house, which is next door to it? What do you think that does to my curb appeal or my ability to sell this house? Some things are not bad, y'all. Yes, there should be a screening process. If you guys watch the creditworthiness video, I'm trying to explain this to you plainly. There is a difference between a home purchase and a mortgage. Those are two totally different transactions. In the creditworthiness video, it's about a 2-minute video that I released not long ago, and I'm explaining to you the reason that you go through this process at the beginning of buying an asset. You have to show your creditworthiness. You have to show your income. You have to show your ability to be able to manage this asset. Okay? You don't have a job and yet you're out here giving you BMWs. And now the shit broke down on the side of the road, and taxpayers have to fund picking these cars up and finding somewhere to put them. Y'all get it? Everything is not as bad as it seems. It's just you do not understand it. Why is there a qualification process to get a house? Because that is a big financial obligation. You think they're screening you for a loan, and that's deceptive. That's something you actually can call out. But you can totally circumvent this process and just do your own home loan with your trust. Now you're going to have some banks that are going to they're going to give you a hard time. I can tell you that right now. And the reason being is because banks make money off lending your own stuff to you. You understand? They do not want to give that power up. So you might have difficulty when you show up with your documents, and everything is absolutely correct. And they're telling you, no, we don't accept this, but y'all issue mortgages all the time as a service. And you have to know and understand that this is a type of discrimination. Because they want everything you put into a bank as a deposit. They want to be able to use your deposit to lend it back at high interest rates to other people who want loans. So if you're dealing with a wealth manager where you have your trust set up, you got your application, you have your promissory note, your proof of your credit and your income, demonstrating your credit worthiness. And listen to me again, you actually have to pay the money back to your trust. It's a savings plan. You don't lose anything. But you have to pay it, or somebody is going to make a claim. And when I say somebody within that bank who go try to get you out the way because they want to be able to issue these loans at 3, 4, 5, and 6% on a mortgage. And they're going to report you as a shell company. This is why I'm not so quick to give this information to the public, because I think some of y'all are going to abuse it and you're going to miss steps. You're not going to read into this. You're looking for a step by step so that you can follow something. When I'm telling you that you need to do more than just step by step. You need a total understanding of your financial affairs, a total understanding of of where do you stand in terms of your finances. You're going to have to micromanage the trust, all of the documentation and paperwork. And some of you not willing to put the legwork in. This stuff takes a lot. And I try to explain that to you guys. Mortgages, foreclosures, this stuff takes a lot of work. And I am not trying to sell you an idea that there's going to be a one and done. No. Okay? You absolutely can set up your own trust and lend to yourself at 0% interest, but you're going to pay that money back from your income, either from your business. You're going to pay that money back to your creditor, which is your trust. You control it. So it's nothing more than a savings plan. That's what all these programs are designed for savings. Credit worthiness is nothing more than simply ensuring that you have the income and you have the credit to maintain the asset. It is not for a loan. I know it says that, but that is deceptive, and it is on you to challenge that. You were supposed to know that I'm not getting a loan. A loan is somebody putting money in your hand. That is what a loan is. None of y'all have gotten a loan ever, unless you went and got like a payday loan or something like that. But even in a payday loan, you was lending to yourself. Creditworthiness is just to demonstrate or justify the creation of a financial instrument in your name. They decide to go and create a promissory note. Out of all the financial instruments they can create, they go and decide to create a promissory note. It makes no never mind if this promissory note say if you cash this check, you're going to die in 7 days. What matters is the nature of the promissory note. It is an asset. That's what it is. The moment you issue it to the mortgage company, it became an asset. They took the asset and they went and paid the seller of the property on your behalf, whether that be a house or a car. That's what happened. That's the first transaction. So let's use PayPal to put this into perspective. Okay? It's easier for you to understand it with PayPal because you got to use your debit card information. Okay? You saw a house that you wanted. You decided to use PayPal as a middleman, like you do with mortgage companies and banks. You went to a middleman to help you facilitate the purchase of this asset. You gave the money to PayPal. PayPal went to the seller of the home and paid for it. Then PayPal turned around and said, now you got to buy it back from me. You would immediately be able to see the problem. Are y'all out y'all mind? Are you insane? I was the person that gave you the money to begin with to go buy the house, and now you're supposed to be delivering the home to me. Now you're talking about I owe you now for the home that you were supposed to deliver to me. Are you insane? Yes, they are insane, and so are you if you pay it. They're doing the same thing but with paper. Your credit history. It's a credit report. Some of y'all don't even understand that. And I'm not saying that in a condescending way to make you feel, but it's called a credit report, not a debt report. And you're getting these negative remarks on your credit report because everybody on your credit report is who owes you money. It is a centralized listing of everybody that owe you money and you're not collecting. So negative remarks go on your credit report. It's a credit report, not a debt report. So when they look at the credit report, they can immediately see the incompetence. Oh, you don't know you the creditor. Incompetent. Denied. You don't even know that these debts are not yours. You're supposed to be collecting on these, not paying it. Okay? This affects your credit worthiness. This affects your ability to be able to pay for that large asset when these banks and these mortgage lenders look at your credit and they see that you're paying on debt that you issued. It's not a debt to you, it's a debt to them because it's a liability to the person you gave it to. It was an asset when you released it. Like a check. If you deposit a check from work into your bank, that's recorded as an asset. The bank now has a liability to give that amount of credits back to you. It doesn't matter if they give it to you or if they give it to someone else on your behalf. It still came from you. You understand? So a lot of your mortgages and your auto loan contracts say that you got a loan. That is a lie. This was a third party payment where I issued the asset and you went and paid on my behalf. And at the conclusion of the transaction, then you show up to me with the asset and you have me sign a second set of paperwork, which gets me to unknowingly convey ownership to you and my property. In order for you to pledge something as collateral, you had to own it first. You cannot pledge something you do not own. So in these mortgage loans and auto loans, they're claiming that you pledged that collateral to them in exchange for a loan, but you did not get a loan. They borrowed from you, which was the house or the car. That's what you lent. And then on top of that, you paid the money that they were supposed to pay you for renting your shit from you. You were supposed to get paid. If you were rent a car, okay? If you rent it, let's use your auto loan as a rental car. That's what you did. You rented your car out to Alley Financial or Capital One. And then you made the payment on the property that you lent. Do that make sense? And this is why these people, they talk to us in a way like we are incompetent. Some people honestly hate you because they think that the reason a country got like this is because of the ignorance of the citizens. This is why America is like it is, because of the ignorance of the citizens. And I think within some people who are intelligent, who have known this for a while, they start to resent. It's a level of resentment for being this incompetent. That's what's really destroying America, if you want to be honest. Okay? So go watch that creditworthiness video if you have not seen it. It is explaining to you that this creditworthiness is only the reason, it's not for a loan. Get that out of your mind. That's going to be the hardest part for a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys are like wishy-washy with this. You sort of like, I want to believe it because it sounds like it'll benefit me to believe it, but you really don't believe it, nor do you act like it. And guess who can tell that you really don't believe it? People that you talk to. That's why I tell you guys not to take, I watermark all the documents. And y'all curse me for it. You curse me for watermarking the documents. It's because I do not want you to copy and paste. I'm trying to protect you. If all of y'all got accounts with Alley Financial and 100 of y'all come with the same document going to Alley Financial for settlement, they're going to know you don't know what you're talking about. These are not even your own words. You got this from somebody else. And we done seen 100 of y'all send the same letter. This is what I'm saying about competency. Y'all are bitching at me, but you're the incompetent one. And then you curse me for putting certain measures in to stop you from hurting yourself. I'm going to link this video for you guys if y'all want to watch the rest of the video on your own. I think it's very informative, okay? Um Settlement and closure, okay, y'all. I'm still that this book is pretty thick. It has a lot of information and it has to be diced into little pieces, okay, so that you can plainly understand this is a self-help book. I'm sorry if you're in foreclosure, okay? I'm sorry if you're in repossession, but It will not help you to take information that you really don't understand and you don't know how to apply. All that's going to happen is that you're going to lose your property faster. Okay? All that's going to happen, you're going to lose your property faster because you're in it's a crisis, it's an emergency. Some of y'all know my story. I've been nothing but transparent. I filed several bankruptcies. And y'all know that that was hard for me to have to file these bankruptcies and not to pay on my car or to pay on my house. My husband and I, like, we have very good jobs. Before, I only been doing this a year, okay, my small business. But we were fortunate enough to have good paying jobs. We were not having financial trouble. So to wake up one day and they snatch my car simply because I stopped paying them on principle, on moral, that I didn't owe you. I don't owe you. I know it looks like it does because I've been paying you, and that's my mistake, and I'm getting chastised for it. I'm getting chastised for my ignorance. Foreclosure notices, people trying to steal my house from me, people snatching my cars from me. So you're talking to somebody who has been there. But not to brag, is not because my husband and I were having financial troubles. We had the money, honestly, to pay the house off. But it was on principle that I don't owe you, and I understand that now. It didn't matter. I was still losing my property. And I'm not saying that to like make people, there are some individuals that honestly you don't got it. You don't have the money. And I understand that and I get that. There's a lot of lesson in loss. It is. Every time they snatched the car from me, I went and got it back. That's how title acquisition came into existence. That's how borrow from yourself came into existence. It came from loss. I was losing stuff, and I don't like losing. Remember at the beginning where I talked to you about growing up, where the adults told you, you gotta beat the bully, or when you come home, I'm whooping your ass. You don't have no choice. And that mentality kind of stuck with me. It stuck with me until now. I gotta beat the bully. I have to. I have to beat the bully. For my cars, I went and took all them liens off. Now no more repossession. Now the cars are mine, free and clear. Borrow from yourself. Now I know how to go to the IRS and recoup all these instruments that I issued into the federal system, the federal monetary system. I issued these, and this money is circulating America, and inflation, because there is no fair exchange. I'm just giving money for nothing. This hurts the integrity of money. You get it? If you could get something like for free or easily, that thing loses its value. It has no value. Anybody can just walk up and get it. This is why, like antiques, excuse me, guys, antiques are so expensive because everybody just can't get it. Collector's edition are so expensive because everybody just can't get it. Money is inflated because we just issue it, we just give it away. You guys have to practice at this at competency and becoming more competent and doing the best that you can to understand, like with IRS, with the borrow from yourself. Some people getting letters from the IRS. Oh, well, we're not sending you a return. IRS is a service. It's an internal service. Internal Revenue Service. They're sending you letters threatening you, lien, or we go do this to you, or we go charge you 5,000. Oh, we're charging you a $5,000 penalty. That 5,000 they charge your account without your consent. All they're doing is showing off to you, hey, you like our penalty program? You like our program? This is just a service. We just want to show you through solicitation how our program works. Do you think it's a great program? And they play these games with you. I didn't ask you for this service. Y'all don't know to say that. If you went to a restaurant and all of a sudden the restaurant bringing you out calamari, they bringing you out stuff that you didn't ask for. And then they turn around and say, okay, now you owe us $5,000. Y'all are at y'all damn mind. You bought me something I did not ask you for. This is a internal revenue service. You're giving me a service I did not ask you for. I reported an overpayment to you that requires a refund. You are nothing more than, honestly, if you really want to break it down, what the IRS is, a currency exchange. That's what all of them are, currency exchanges. In some of y'all's letters that I read, I go silent because I could tell you didn't read the letter. It says right there, if we got it wrong, call us and let us know. Hell yeah, you got it wrong. You owe me money. But instead of reading the letter in its entirety, you see $0. That $0 is correct. I've tried to explain it to you several times why when they send you that $0 that is correct. But they were supposed to release a check to you. And now the account has $0 because you got the check in your hand. I can't seem to get that through to y'all. And some of y'all are not even, you're not doing your own due diligence. Y'all are scared to talk to them. Scared to talk to, you ain't scared to talk to Chick-fil-A. They provide a service. You go right in there, you know what you want. I released a video to you where I think she was like a secretary within the IRS. She came out and said, y'all know that, taxes is totally voluntary. And some of y'all are still running around treating this as if it's not voluntary. Yes, I volunteer to use your service. You provide a service. And if you give me a service I didn't ask for, then I'm going to opt out of that service. I ain't asked you for no penalty program. That's a nice program, but I didn't ask you for this solicitation. I didn't ask you to show that. And you got $5,000 of my money. I have to do another video where I go over the IRS form 843. When they do that, when they charge your account $5,000, you have to withdraw that money. And you do that using IRS form 843. That's also going to be included in settlement and closure, amongst other things that I have to teach and explain. So I know y'all are rushing it. I'm sorry that you're in an emergency. Okay, do the best that you can to maintain your circumstances until I can release it. I am not charging you $200 for fiscal service forms. That is insanity. Okay? That is insanity to charge $200 for fiscal service forms. I kind of thought y'all knew me better than that. Okay, but it is taking some time. There is nobody to call. Once this book is released, it is a self-help book. I am breaking it down to you from the very beginning, how you got into this situation. That's really what's taking so long, to explain the beginning. Some of y'all don't even really understand how you don't owe the money. That's the part of it you don't get in your mind. How you don't owe. Okay? So I had to go back and add a whole nother section to the book. And on top of that, I'm building a course. And the course has to be easy for you to dissect and follow. It has to be in layman's. I can't use big words like medulla oblongata. You know what I mean? I'm trying to dice it into small pieces. In the meantime and in between time, I try to offer my assistance. Okay, but I need you guys to understand, like, if you are in foreclosure, this stuff takes a lot of work. It is a lot of work. It is not a one and done. They have created the illusion with your car and with your house. The illusion has already been created. So if you find yourself in court, okay, the judge is going to act as if, okay, you're really a borrower, like you really borrowed money, and you don't know how to articulate that you didn't. So I have to be sure to cover that. We go through examples. There are parts in the book that tells you, like in the book, let me tell you guys. The book, every section teaches you how to build your case as exhibits. Okay, so the very first thing is your application. Okay, your application explains to the mortgage servicer who the seller or their agent, the location of the property, the amount of the property. Okay, you're going to take that loan application. This is Exhibit A, and we're going to explain to you in its entirety this loan application. Next is Exhibit B. Okay, your credit profile. What does this mean? Why were you asked to provide this information? This is going to be Exhibit B. And you're going to build a binder. We're going to walk you step by step with the information that you're going to need to be able to put this evidence on the record to clear the encumbrance on your home or on your car or get a lien off your car. The cars are easier than the houses. Cars are easier than the houses. So there is a lot that has gone into this book. I'm sorry it's not available at the moment. It will be. I am working on it. I want to give you a fully digestible product that you can employ yourself. Okay? I don't want to give you something half-assed. And what happened in Borrow From Yourself, where I had a bunch of successes, and then I had a bunch of people that was not successful, and I cannot move. Like if this was Monopoly, I can't move the game piece around for 1,000 people. I cannot manually do this for you. So if there's something in the book that's unclear, we keep going it over and over again to be sure that it's clear to you, because there is no one to call once I release it. Once I release the course. Okay? All right, so I've been talking to y'all for some time, and now I'm coming down with I suffer from migraines. Okay, I'm gonna link this video. You can watch it all in your entirety, y'all. Don't be stealing my stuff. Don't be out here talking about it's unavailable, officer. Okay, but I'm putting that information out for y'all to kind of think, and you don't have to use my tactics. You come up with your own ways to defend and protect your privacy. Okay. Um, Listen to this video a couple times. Listen to what I said. Y'all get on me sometimes about ranting, but there's a lesson in some of the stuff that I say. There's a lesson in it, like I'm trying to convey something to you. I know that like we all come from different walks of life. Like I got an accent, I talk a certain way, I kind of got a little slang, okay? And just do the best you can to try to understand me. I promise you I mean well. I know y'all are out there fighting, okay? Trying to keep your head above water. I get it. Okay. I think that's all I got for you guys right now. For you guys right now. We'll talk, okay? Bye.